howdy, and welcome all to the Big and Bright Podcast. My name is Nick. This here next to me is James.
Howdy.
We're back.
Finally.
We're back in studio. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
Stupid rules.
We're both clear of... we're both not... We're both totally fine.
Yep.
We're back.
No lingering effects.
We're back in studio. Very excited to be with you here for this actually very important episode that we've been wanting to get out. We wanted to wait until we're back in studio to make it happen. But this is going to be about the upcoming Texas election. Now, a lot of people that I've spoken to about when I asked them, hey, what is your next episode going to be about? I say the Texas election. He says, I didn't know we were having an election.
That's a problem.
That's an issue, yeah. So we're here to bring light to the situation. There is an election happening. Now, apart from certain counties, there are no actual people that you're going to be voting for.
No.
There are certain local elections that might be happening depending on your area. There are some websites that you can go to see where it is. We'll include those in the description.
Ballotpedia. That's the easiest one.
That's really the best one. Yeah, it's a good site. But there are plenty of different places that you can go to see exactly what is on your specific docket.
And you should.
Yeah, I would really recommend you go, you look, you do your research, you make these events. And there really isn't that much to it, right?
No.
So,
and we're going to break down the most important things today. Talk about the Texas Constitution.
Yes.
Because we get to actually vote in it, Nick.
We get to vote in the Constitution, which is one of the reasons why the Texas Constitution is gigantic. It is a massive legal document.
It's also the best.
The United States document is what? It's like 12 pages? Not that many pages. Right?
I don't know.
It's a teeny little document.
It's written. I mean, unlike other countries, like, it's there.
Yeah.
Where? There's nothing written. But okay.
It's a common law. Whatever. Here's the thing. The Texas Constitution is actually a very, very large document because of the fact that a lot of propositions get turned into amendments, and those amendments are then included in the Texas Constitution.
Because Texas does not want the simple whims of a governor or the legislator to be able to overdo it.
That is true.
That is why we have it this way. That way the people actually get to have the say.
And it is interesting that the legislator actually votes on bills, and then we vote to actually put those bills into the Constitution so that it's actually part of our legal document and it requires another amendment in order to reverse it.
Yes.
This is why the law works very slowly in Texas, which makes no mistake is a good thing. Yeah. Very good thing.
I'm offended. We're not passing that. Shut up.
But we have to get out there and actually do the voting. We are, again, it's not terribly common that these sorts of states will actually let you vote on these legislations. You vote in the legislators as a trustee, and then they vote on the legislation, but you really don't get a say in the proposition. In Texas, they let us vote.
Yeah.
So go do it.
Even if you think, it's just another right-wing power grab, well, some of these actually affect the Constitution.
Yep.
So even that right-wing or left-wing power grab, if you see it that way, can't be actually affected until you vote it in.
And here's the crazy
thing.
Beautiful. I understand that we're in Texas, and I understand that this was all of this passed the legislature in the last
Correct.
session, right?
Well, most of it, but yeah.
But it's important to note, not all of these are Republican proposals.
No.
Right? Not all of these are universally loved by the GOP. We're going to go over a few.
The Texas Freedom Caucus.
That most really strong Republicans are actually against, and we're going to talk about them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through each of these. We're going to discuss exactly what they are, give our commentary, and then we're going to vote Siskel and Ebert style up or down for James and Nick.
I did not agree to this.
Well, I don't care what you agree to. It's
Whatever.
my show. We'll see
about that.
We're gonna
talk to the producer here.
It's also worth noting that our up and down vote is not telling you how to vote. It is our recommendation. It is our opinion. All rights thereof. What legal language do I need to say to make this all official?
Oh, I disagree with that entirely. I'm giving you my opinion. You should totally take my vote if you want to be a card-carrying conservative.
Well, that's whatever. Good. There's also a couple of here that are actually specifically about the legal justices and things like that. So we're going to discuss those.
Yeah, so, we'll get that.
We've got a couple of sections here. We have.
But hold on, Nick. Early voting. It's allowed in Texas. It's from October 18th, which is already passed, but it's until the 29th. Hopefully, this will be out before the 29th.
Yes.
You have until then. If you decide not to vote until the actual voting day, that is November 2nd, unless you're a Democrat, that is November 3rd for the election.
You can't do that. That's illegal.
Well.
You can't do it. The Department of Justice is going to be searching for you.
Well.
There was some story about that, how somebody made that joke and they were like hunted down by the FBI or something like that. Anyway, Here's the
judge.
situation.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Go vote. Early voting ends on October 29th. If not, go on election day, which I really recommend you just go on election day.
November 2nd.
November 2nd. That's the day to go. We've broken these down into a couple of categories. One, partisan proposals from the left, right? Some stuff that's conservatives not too hot about. Then partisan proposals from the right, stuff that is really upsetting to some of the Democrats. And then the category that I've put in is the no-brainers, meaning this is virtually agreed on by everybody most of the time, including us.
I'm just going to disagree for fun.
We should definitely vote for it. So we're going to go first with the first two propositions, Proposition 1, Proposition 2. These are what I call the propositions from the left, meaning the hardcore conservatives are really not on board with this.
They're also proposed by people on the left. They're Democrats.
Yeah, a lot of they were also proposed by Democrats.
Despite how much gridlock you think there is, stuff actually does get passed by Democrats in our Texas legislature.
That's true. And there's all sorts of different places where you can go to view the summaries of these documents. We are going to include the links in the description. Let's start with Proposition 1. Rodeo raffles.
It would allow charitable raffles at rodeo events. Unauthorized raffles can be considered illegal gambling under Texas law.
See, this is going in the Constitution, James. This is why I don't like the fact that
that's how much Texas loves rodeos.
Because it includes things like, can we have raffles or rodeos? Yeah. I guess.
Charitable ones.
So it specifically has to be charitable raffles. How do they define? Does it have to be a raffle that contributes to a 901c3?
It would extend permission to rodeo events by the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association or the Women's Professional Rodeo Association. So it basically includes those two, which is why I'm kind of torn by it.
Currently, it's important to note that unauthorized raffles are illegal in Texas because they're considered gambling.
Yes.
And Texas is
which
a no
is
gambling
dumb.
state. Yeah. Texas is a no gambling state.
Why?
And I like to gamble. I like to play craps. I'm a big fan of shooting craps.
You try to get me on board with that.
I enjoy it's craps is awesome.
I want to sit at the no-brainer 21 or not 21 table. Just give me that blackjack all day.
I enjoy the occasional blackjack or game of poker, but craps is my thing. I really like to play, and it is frustrating that you have to drive to Shreveport or to Thackerville just to get
Thackerville,
Oklahoma. That's where WinStar is.
Yeah, why would you say Oklahoma?
Or you go to Durant, where Choctaw is.
Don't say Oklahoma. It's a curse word on this podcast.
The thing about Oklahoma is, even with gambling, Oklahoma, if you like to play blackjack, right? So if you're a blackjack player, Oklahoma will make you pay $1 per hand of blackjack.
Yeah, that's your little tax.
It's like
I'm already here giving you my money.
It's called the Okeanee, right? You have to pay money to play a hand that you statistically likely won't win.
Yeah.
So it's really frustrating. But again,
the reason I like Shreveport over that curse word that I'm not going to say is because Shreveport, you're already getting my money, so my drinks are free. The minute I put a bet down, I'll give you the penny slots. One crank, drinks are free. You know why? Because we want to encourage you to get some more drunk and pay more.
That's
good.
True.
I don't care. Because you're not going to get a lot of money from me. I have a budget. I'm not like one of these idiots like, let me get some more out of the ATM. Let me get some more out of the ATM. No, this is it. If it's gone, I'm just drinking.
Yep. Okay, so it's important to note that raffles are already allowed at professional sporting events. Literally all we're talking about is can we do it at rodeos?
Right.
That's it. GOP is not... The hardcore GOP is not too happy about this one. It'll probably pass, but the hardcore GOP is not liking it because gambling's from the devil, and they don't want to.
Allegedly,
they don't want to get a foot in the door, right? They don't want to get a foot in the door for Texas to be a gambling state,
which I don't understand, but whatever.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about our vote up, vote down, and decide why we will be or think we should vote yes or no on these bad boys. I'm gonna let James. I'm gonna let you go first. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you want?
Do I just do it?
Yeah, you should do the gladiator thing.
I don't see a problem with it. Why not? But my only issue is who and who's not authorized. Seems like you're kind of subsidizing certain organizations, but I'm fine with it.
I'm gonna give you a thumbs down on this one.
It's because Texas Freedom Caucus told you to?
No, it is not because Texas Freedom Caucus told me to. It is because I love to gamble. I do.
Yeah.
I love to go to casinos. I love to gamble. It's a lot of fun. And as someone who loves to gamble, I go to casinos all the time, and I see other people who love to gamble a little too much, as I might say. And I see a lot of these people, and it really is a problem for certain people. It really is a vice. It's pretty significant. And anyone who's ever been in downtown Vegas knows that turning Texas into just like, and again, we're talking about raffles at a rodeo. I get it, right? Yeah. Raffles at a rodeo, not that big of a deal.
You're doing that slippery slope argument.
There is some sort of thing as like you let that foot in the door, what happens next? And I really don't want Texas to become this place where you can go and have these massive, these massive casinos, and it's just one of those things. I'd rather stay where it is. And if you need to go somewhere, you can go to Louisiana or Oklahoma, right? Which is
stop it. I'm getting informed hating to blank you every time you say it.
I'm gonna say thumbs down on this one. I just don't think we should start down that road. All right, Proposition 2. James, go ahead and describe Proposition 2 for us.
Proposition 2. This amendment would authorize counties to issue bonds or notes to raise funds for transportation infrastructure in underdeveloped areas. Already, cities and towns have the authority to fund projects with this financing method. Counties would have to repay the bonds by pledging increased property tax revenues, but these funds cannot be used for construction, maintenance, or acquisition of toll roads. That's the gist of it.
Yeah. It's giving higher levels of government greater capacity to levy taxes, basically. Yeah. So it's you're letting the government take more of your money, which is our opinion unclear about that on this show?
I've been pretty vague.
I think that's no bueno. I'm not big on the idea of the government taking more of my money. Now, we're talking about roads and infrastructure in underdeveloped areas of Texas. So places
No. It cannot be used for construction, maintenance, or acquisition of toll roads.
Okay, so what is it used for then? It's transportation infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like what? What are we talking about? Talking about trains, planes, automobiles?
We're talking about a made up way to say this. That's what we're talking about. Because you're definitely just hiding the ball here. Yeah. No.
Can't be used.
It's weird.
It's infrastructure that can't be used on construction, maintenance, acquisition of toll roads. So what's it used for? But and again, it's talking about
underdeveloped areas.
Underdeveloped areas.
Why are they underdeveloped?
Because
maybe they shouldn't be developed. Maybe they have a crappy plan and they just didn't do their job.
Like Lubbock or Longview. It's just generally crappy people.
No, don't worry about Lubbock. Hey, they're the first to say no, they're a sanctuary city for abortion states. I'm in.
There you go. This kind of stuff bugs me. I don't know how this got passed in legislation. But I do know how it got passed because it's talking about the ability to get more money. But it's at the county level, and at least
Well, this is the thing about it. The city does it, and the county has to pay for it. Just take for our example, we live in Dallas County.
Yep.
All right. Dallas County, for instance, has at least 12 cities in their county. So if Dallas, which is in Dallas County, decides to do all this, well, then the county gets to share the wealth of all this money. I think we make an easy vote here. You should go first this time.
Yeah, I'm going to say definitely no on this bad boy. I'm going to say no, government, you don't get to have more of my money.
Yeah, I'm going to go no, and I'm going to give you a reason. They offer a lifeline like I said earlier. It won't be used for construction, maintenance, or acquisition of toll roads. But we all know money's fungible.
Yeah.
You can put it in this account, then move from that account to this account. See, we never directly spend on it right. You just put it in the other account, then you use the money. Like, no, it's bullcrap.
That dollar never went to this.
Yeah, no. But whatever. I think we'll go to the next one. That was BS. I don't know how it passed either. It's crap.
A pretty easy no for me. Proposition number 3: religious service exemptions.
Yes, sir.
From being closed down, basically, right? So this is what it
prevents the government from closing down.
Yes.
Due to anything.
Right. Bans the state from prohibiting any limitations on religious services, including those in churches and other places of worship, such as mosques, synagogues, Buddhist, what do they have? I don't know what they have.
Temple?
Whatever. Yeah, it's Buddhist temples. Whatever it is, right? Religious services cannot be banned. Clearly, obviously, a move from some of the controversy that happened during COVID-19.
Yep.
Religious services were
not from the governor. But
not from the governor,
mayors.
but from mayors and the government. And that wasn't just a Texas thing, of course. It's happened all over. John MacArthur, of course, famously challenged the state of California.
Peaceful protest.
Yeah, had a peaceful protest.
I love that sermon.
That was y'all should seriously check out good old Johnny Mac. He did a number on California. But clearly, this is Texas trying to solidify. Nope, that's not going to happen in the future.
Right, and it doesn't just say just only Christian churches, any places of worship, any form.
Okay. Critics of the proposal.
Oh yeah.
They are afraid of a second Rona. They're saying that if something bad were to happen, that the government would have no way of protecting people or evacuating people in the case of future emergencies.
That's not your job.
It's not your job. That's not your job. It's adults' job to be adults and make sense of their own lives.
Whoa, so you're telling me I have to weigh risks and make my own decisions?
It's very true.
No, I check in every morning to see what Fauci tells me to do that day, and then I do that.
Maybe it's too soon to tell if we'll have Christmas this year, James. I don't think Santa Claus is coming. He
sounds like a stereotypical Jew.
He hasn't had his 4th vaccination shot. I know, I sound like the guy from Family Guy.
Yeah, you're getting close.
I'm trying, that's right.
I can't do it, so I'm going to try.
I can't. That's the best Fauci you're going to get on this show, guys. But yeah, no, so, and the other thing is businesses. Businesses should make decisions on behalf of their constituents.
That's not a business, it's a church.
I understand, right? And churches definitely have a different thing, and then we do have...
They have a business aspect, but yes, they're a charitable organization.
Yeah, well, I personally think that we should just extend this to
everything?
All businesses, but...
Well, we did that with the mandate.
Yeah, certainly to churches, though, because we have religious exemptions in this company. We have freedom of religion in this company. That is freedom to practice your religion without inhibition of the government.
Correct.
Meaning this should be a policy that's applied by the First Amendment of the United States.
The minute you give them a way in, they're never going to give that way back. So no, you just got to stay firm and say no.
It is so sad to me that we are relying on our provincial governments, on our state governments to enforce something that should be enforced by an existing amendment in the federal government.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, like for our church, itself closed down.
Yeah.
No one forced it. It's like, hey, we're not sure what's going on. We have a little older constituency here. We have a lot of people across all ages, and so at the early point, we had no idea what was going on. So it shut down, and then once it reopened, I went back.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're open. I'm gonna go. I don't like this Zoom thing, but the church was like, all right, we've assessed and we're good. Here's some little protocols. They never forced it on us. It was highly recommended for all these mask things, but they never said no. It's a rule. It was never a rule because they let you make your own call. There are still people in our church that wear masks because they feel like they need to. That's fine. It's your call. The church is never going to force you to do that. A lot of our pastors, when they're in the hallway, sometimes they'll wear it because they're like, we just want to be safe. Okay, fine. I don't care. Like and even for my son, and I know you did it too with your son, there was no worry about the Rona thing. It was like, well, he doesn't really have an immune system yet, so I'm not going to go into public. Yep. We made that call. Church was on, but we just watched it on Zoom because since he has no immune system, we're not going to put him through that.
So individuals and collectives, whether they're businesses or religious institutions, can make decisions on their own. You can trust people to be adults. It's not your responsibility to do that. You want to do thumbs up, thumbs down? You go first.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm going to go ahead and throw that up as well.
You let the people decide for themselves.
That was as easy as the last one, just the different direction. All right, Proposition 4. And James is going to talk about Proposition 4 and 5 because I know nothing. I know very little compared to him about the Texas judicial aspect, and that's what those are covering. Go.
Number 4 would require candidates to have 10 years of experience practicing law in the state of Texas to be eligible for election to the Texas Supreme Court, the Court of Criminal Appeals, or the Texas Court of Appeals, because we have 2. Mm-hmm. Currently, the law requires 10 years of experience, but allows out-of-state experience. This would require it to be only state of Texas experience. This also... Oh, I'm sorry. That's the next one. So I'll stop right there. But basically, you have to have 10 years in the state of Texas for experience in order to be even considered to be on the ballot for the Texas Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, or the
Texas Court of Appeals. So the Court of Criminal Appeals and the Texas Court of Appeals. So the Court of Criminal Appeals and the Texas Supreme Court are like on the same level, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, they're both basically Supreme Courts, but for different
things, yes.
Things, right? And then the Texas Court of Appeals is...
Yeah, I can go in nuance, but no one cares about that. I'll just leave it at that.
So the only change here is that the experience must be practiced in... your 10 years has to be
It only counts in Texas, yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Anything else? Anything else we're proposing here?
The main proponent behind this is they want to have more qualified judges. They want to have a work history of actually working in the state of Texas. That's the reason they propose this law. That's the only really nuanced to this.
However, there are critics that say that this might lower the level of diversity in the voting pool.
What do they mean by diversity?
If you don't know, they mean Democrats.
Oh.
If you don't know,
I figured there's been a color thing because of like color all of a sudden.
Texas judges are elected by popular votes. One of the interesting things about the way we do the judicial system here in Texas. And what the opponents of this proposition are saying is that there will be less voter choice and less diversity in the voting pool if you put these limitations on it. Basically, they're saying, there's probably going to be more white people, which I don't think is true. I think you're going for the most experienced and the best judges, and the color that they are just doesn't matter. But some people, it matters quite a bit, and those people do not like this proposition. They don't.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a point here, Nick. There's also another part. Like, candidates running to be a district judge would need 8 years of law practice. Currently, the requirement is 4 years, so that adds another element to it.
Okay, all right. So yeah, you're basically restricting. It's the same basic thing, right?
You're basically making your resume has to be longer.
Yeah, and that's good. That's a good thing. If you're talking about, especially people that are effectively on the Texas Supreme Court or the Texas Court of Appeals, you're talking about, I think that's a good thing.
I'm a little torn on it though.
Okay.
Our country, especially our republic, was founded on if you run and you win, you're in.
Yeah.
So the only requirement for a judge is basically you have to be a lawyer. How long? It's not really a requirement until except the district judge has to be at least 4 years.
Yeah.
So why do I have to do this little extra hoop in order to do something that can do it? Because there's a lot of lawyers who, they're ready to get to law schools learning I know how to study, I know how to look at the law, I know how to research if I need to find something I don't know. That's what you basically learn. You don't learn how to be a lawyer, but you at least learn how to do research.
You're talking about the interpretation of the law, though. You're talking when you're talking about the judicial branch. I think that there's a real need to make sure that you have qualified individuals there.
I get it, but who says this means qualified?
Because here's the thing, though, you already have the qualifications of being a lawyer, right? Because I'll tell you this right now. I voted Donald Trump the second time for president. There's no way I'm voting for Donald Trump for a Supreme Court justice.
But he's not a lawyer.
I know. But
he would never make that poll. That's my issue.
But that's the thing is you already have that restriction. You already have that's a restriction that you have to be a lawyer.
Well, yeah, because you're deciding legal matters. So lawyer is fine. How long you need to be a lawyer? I don't know.
All right. We're gonna
especially only in Texas.
We're gonna vote up or down. I'll go first. Yeah, I'm good with this. I think it's good. I think you want to have the most qualified people on the bench, and practicing in Texas for Texas law, that makes sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. James?
Sorry, I don't think so. I think that if you had 10 years of experience, you have 10 years of experience. The only state that is not, I found this out today by a guy that we know together, the only state lawyers that do not actually get to transfer into another state and just be a lawyer there. For instance, if you practice for 5 years outside of Texas and you try to transfer your law degree inside of Texas, they'll get a grant. It's you've been practicing 5 years, it's fine, you know how to be a lawyer. The only one that says no is California, because their bar is so screwy. No state accepts a California transfer. You have to go to that state and take their bar and then get in. So besides California, I think you've learned how to be a lawyer, you can do the job.
That's weird. That's weird to me. All right, so James has only been wrong on 2 of these decisions. Let's see if he can keep going. Proposition 5. James, go ahead and take this one away as well, because this is another judicial one.
Judicial misconduct process is how it's labeled. It would allow the State Commission on Judicial Conduct to have oversight of candidates running for judicial seats by accepting complaints or reports, conducting investigations, and reprimanding them. The Commission is an independent agency created by the state constitution. They already have powers to do this over current judicial office holders. This would allow it to be, if you're on the ballot, they can also start looking into reports and things on it before you actually get elected, possibly preventing certain people from having the chance to be elected.
Yep. So I understand why the Dems don't like this one, right? Again, it's narrowing the... Well, okay.
Whoa, you're sifting through my history?
This is my theory, though. This is my theory.
Oh,
I think what they say is that it's narrowing the voting pool, right? That's what they're saying. I believe that this is because Democrats, especially when it comes to judicial candidates, love to just throw out baseless claims in order to say, oh, this person shouldn't be judged because they're a a serial sex offender or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
we all saw Kavanaugh.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and then they say, okay, well, let's have an FBI investigation. Like, whoa, no,
hold on, we're gonna double check. We're not gonna double check facts. I already told you, we're good.
I think that the Dems, my theory is that the Dems want a situation where they can throw out those baseless facts, but this gives it where there's an actual process for this. I'm like, oh, well, we'll put it through the process. Oh, no, you didn't put it through the process.
Just listen to what we say.
We'll tell you what to
We're gonna have this kangaroo court where we put him up here. We're not actually, lawyers, but we're just gonna give him like, oh, you can't do that, can't do this. Because like, see, he's bad. He didn't answer any of our questions. You kept asking like, what color is the sky? Blue. It's actually like sky blue. So, wow, this guy knows nothing.
Oh my gosh. All right, so. Thumbs up, thumbs down, James. You're going to go first on this one.
Ooh, I like it. You do
this.
not have to wait until I already voted in. I think if you're a person who's going to be on the bench, you should be thoroughly investigated. If you have any reports that could possibly just make the court look bad in any optics, you should thoroughly go through it. And if it comes up nothing, then it's nothing. But you should be investigated before you go on the bench. You have to have our court at least appear beyond reproach. What's your vote? Oh
no! I'm not.
You want to let those weirdos in?
I'm not good with this. Especially because we already have a situation where Texas votes in different justices. Are we going to do it that way or are we not? Does that make sense? Like if
you should be able to vote who you want.
If you want to be a state that votes people in, then be a state that can vote people in. But if you want to be a state that says no, you're basically appointed by a committee, which is what this is. It's a committee that can effectively veto a candidate.
It can veto a candidate that has bad marks of reports on their record. And if you're doing something corrupt when you're on the bench in one area, I'm dang sure not going to let you get a higher bench area.
The problem is that who elects this committee?
It's by our Constitution. It's interdependent. That's what it says. Whether we believe it's interdependent doesn't matter. It's still allowed by our Constitution, but it only does it when they're actually in office. I think if we have a chance to prevent that bad judge from getting in office, that person should be on the ballot. We still get to vote who we want, but that person may not be. I see your point. I just disagree.
All right. Well, that's what we have the police for. That's what we have that's what we have the judicial system for, right? If you've committed a crime, that's on the record. That's not necessarily something we need to investigate. I don't like it. I don't think it's good to have another judicial branch or another branch of government investigating this kind of stuff.
Tell us about number 6, Nick.
I'll talk to you about number 6.
I know you were all hot and bothered about it earlier.
Number 6. Very against number 6. I am. Let me tell you. Right, number 6, this amendment would allow residents of nursing homes and assisted living facilities to designate one essential caregiver who cannot be denied in-person visitation rights. Now, it's worth noting that the legislature will put restrictions on these sorts of things later on. Right, for example, and again, there's no hiding the ball here. This is about coronavirus, right?
Yeah, this is specifically about Rona.
There were huge issues where people, family members, and caregivers were not able to get into nursing homes in order to see their loved ones. Many of them died without ever getting to see any of their family members. It was an absolutely tragic thing.
Unless you were lucky enough to have a window to actually see through the glass, but they still were not ever allowed inside.
This amendment would basically prevent that from happening, but restrictions are important because, for example, if the caregiver is, diagnosed with COVID, right, there needs to be a little bit of an exception.
Right, you take a COVID test, all right, it's negative, all right, I'm going in.
And
it's passing, well, no, we have too many residents here. Well, I disagree how accurate those tests are. I get it.
That I think is fine. And since we have that restriction in there, to me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, to me, if you don't vote for this, you are a bad person.
Yep.
First of all, this is agreed across the board.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think anybody downvoted this when it was in legislation.
No, literally the article I'm looking at right now, even the Texas Freedom Caucus is the same thing with the Austin American Statesman, a very left-wing newspaper.
Yeah.
They're the same.
Yeah. This is going to be a 100%. The only person I can see not voting for this is the guy that just downvotes all propositions. He's like, I don't want the government.
No more new government.
Nothing, right?
It'll help you. No more new government.
That's not right. This to me is a no-brainer. People need to be able to go to see their loved ones, especially their loved ones who might be sick.
Right.
That's important. And
people, especially if you can't care for yourself, and the only thing you have going for you is actually seeing your family, and you're told like, oh, that's gone too.
Yeah, you got to do it over Zoom.
And
right?
No, this is not the same. It's really not. I mean, we saw that already. I mean, we did Easter when it was all started through Zoom. While we had a fun time, we all agreed, it's like, yeah, this kind of sucked because I'd rather see y'all at church.
I'd rather hug you. I'd rather be in the room.
Right. We didn't get a chance to kiss, our usual Easter kiss. We didn't get a chance to do that.
Exactly, right. The both sides, right? The Greek style.
Sure.
Here's the thing, guys. I don't think we need to really debate on this. Let's do it at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Yes, vote for that. That's not a problem.
I'm in.
All right, James, go ahead and tell us what about Proposition 7.
Property tax exemptions for bereaved families. This would put a limit on school district property taxes incurred to the surviving spouse of a person with disabilities older than 65 who has died. The surviving spouse must be at least 55 years old at the partner's time of death and still live in the home. You can see how left-wing this is, partner. Okay, whatever. The amendment is necessary to update the Constitution in accordance with the tax code, which was modified in 2019 legislative session to include this change. If approved, individuals eligible for this tax break can receive funds on the collections from 2020, 2021. They get their back taxes for that. That's it. It can reduce school district property tax revenue and increased funding in accordance with Texas public school funding formulas.
As somebody who owns a home owns property in Texas, in my school district, I can tell you that school districts have no problem collecting funds from property taxes.
Yeah.
I think that saying, people who have specifically, what are the requirements here? 65, right? Person that died had to be older than 65.
Correct.
The spouse. Person had to have disabilities.
Right.
Which at 65, a lot of people do.
Right. It's a vague term. Yeah, you can make that.
But here's the thing. This is not an issue to me. This is a non-issue because how many of those people are out there that if they're not paying property taxes, we're going to lose seats in schools. That doesn't make sense. And this is basically saying, hey, you're a bereaved person. We're going to give you an exemption on property taxes.
Shouldn't have a chance to lose your home because your husband or wife died. Like, no, that's not fair. Like, come on.
Once again,
especially most of the time the houses are paid off.
Yeah.
At that point.
Once again, basically they came out onto the floor and they said, hey, who wants to not give a tax break to bereaved widows? And
I do.
Yeah, there was one.
Get out.
There was one person in the back going, me, I hate grandma, right? This one's pretty simple for me. I'm gonna go ahead and go first. I'll say,
I'll do it together.
Yep, there we go. Yes.
Always for reduction in taxes.
Definitely vote for that. All right. Now I'll go on to Proposition 8. This is the final proposition for today. Property tax exemptions for military families. Proposition 8 would expand, so this is not a tax exemption. This is it is a tax exemption. It's a homestead tax exemption, right? So right now, if your spouse dies or if your family member dies in action in the military, you get a residential homestead tax exemption, which is included on your property.
Try to take care of Gold Star families,
Exactly, right? The new eligibility is going to include people who were essentially killed by accidents.
Yeah, right? Or non-hostile events.
Yeah, training accidents, vehicle crashes, things like that.
Which happen all the time.
They do, yeah. If they're in the service of the military, but they weren't killed in action, you still qualify for this tax exemption. That's really the only change. It already exists, right? We already have the structure for this on the books. They're just adding this little
extra. It's like a little small, subpart A, this too.
Right. Hey, who wants to deny tax exemptions to the bereaved families of dead soldiers?
Same. I told you to get out.
There's no way. I mean, this is, again, these last three are just no-brainers. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Boom.
Vote for that. Definitely.
Always for military families because they take care of me because I am not brave enough to actually do that.
Neither am I. So you're far braver.
The families also serve. If people forget that they also serve when their husband or wife is serving. So why the heck would we not take care of them?
Far braver than me. I'll let you have that tax exemption. So just to review, Proposition 1, we're split, right? So Proposition 1, go with whatever you want. Proposition 2, definite no.
No.
Definitely a no, all right? Proposition 3, definitely a yes. Definitely a yes for Proposition 3. Proposition 4, split again. Split again. James was wrong. Proposition 5, also split, right? So 4 and 5, go with your gut, right? But do what I told you to.
My gut, but yeah.
Proposition 6, 7, and 8, all absolute yeses. Be looking for those, and I hope you guys watch this and review this before you go into the voting booth. But friends, the last thing I'm going to say is absolutely go to the voting booth.
Vote. Period. Vote.
Go vote. Right, and especially when you're talking about your state.
Right,
right?
And I get it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't find the one that actually has the language in it. So sometimes you just gotta know the numbers of the proposition because I'll put it in a weird language like, oh yeah, I agree. It's like it's actually saying opposite because the lawyer like just put a lot of weird words in there. You're like, I don't know what it actually says. So sometimes it's easier to take a little piece of paper in and have the number and go check mark X, however your system works, because that's what I do sometimes, because they don't always have the exact language of how we just said it.
Yeah.
And it's not illegal to take your own note to how you're going to vote. It's not illegal to do that. No one cares because you're the one that's personally in there. And all you got to do is put it in your pocket, look at it like, oh, it's not your phone, it's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Not corrupting the ballot.
It might be soon, though. It might be illegal soon because Democrats will be like,
fine, run it on my hand. I don't
the
care.
person that does that's less likely to vote for them.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the thing, guys. Definitely go vote. This is how you change things, and you have to change things at the local level. Remember,
this is as local as it gets. It's our own republic.
Politics is baseball. It's not football. Football's reliant on the draft. It's reliant on that one big player. Baseball is a farm system. That's the way politics works,
true.
Right? You've got to get people and policies at your level where you want them. And then from there, you can influence the rest of the country. I think Texas can do that, but it's most important that we take care of ourselves here at home. And the way you do that is by going and voting. By voting, we make our light a little bit brighter, right? Because like we said, in a world that's getting darker and darker, in Texas, as always, the stars at night
are big and bright.
Go vote. See you next week.